There's a moment, just one split second, when you realize everything you believed in was a lie. For me, it came at a dinner table, surrounded by friends, good wine, and the woman I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with. She turned to me, eyes blazing, and said, "Apologize to him, or we're over." I didn't get angry. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I just smiled. And when she came back weeks later, hollow-eyed and desperate, she finally understood what done really means. It's not drama. It's not revenge. It's not even sadness. It's silence. It's the door closing with no promise of opening again. And if you've ever been disrespected by someone you loved or watched them choose someone else over you, this story will hit harder than you expect, because this isn't just about a breakup. It's about loyalty. It's about who you stand with when the room gets quiet. And it's about what happens when you finally stop begging for respect and start enforcing it. For 3 years, my life with Anna was perfect, not flawless, not fairy tale, but real, solid, the kind of love that doesn't need fireworks to survive. I'm a lawyer, not the flashy courtroom type, but the kind who spends months buried in depositions, motions, and sleepless nights. My job is to see the worst of people: lies, greed, betrayal. Coming home to her was like stepping into sunlight after months underground. She was a paralegal, sharp as a scalpel, with this fire in her voice when she talked about law school. She wasn't just going. She was going to win, top of her class, clerk at the Supreme Court, maybe even run for office one day. I loved that about her, not just her ambition, but the way she fought for it. We were building something, a house I restored from the studs up, a future we both believed in. I wasn't just dating her. I was investing in her, and I didn't mind, because I knew she was the one. But even in the best relationships, there's always a shadow, a little static in the background, a voice that doesn't quite belong. And in our case, that voice had a name: Leo, Anna's best friend from college. The guy who called himself an artist, but spent his days designing menus for taco trucks. The guy who acted like working a 9 to 5 was a moral failure, but couldn't pay rent without help. The guy who, according to Anna, was her ride or die, her platonic soulmate. The one who held her together when her ex-boyfriend Alex shattered her heart. To me, he was a leech, a manipulator, and he had made it his mission to make sure I never felt welcome in her life. The worst part, he was good at it. He never said anything outright. "No, I hate you. No, you're not good enough." It was all subtle, poison in a velvet glove, like when we'd plan a vacation and he'd sigh and say, "Remember that time we got lost in the Rockies? No phones. No plan. Just us and the stars." You can't plan moments like that. Or when I bought her a new laptop for school, and he'd smirk and say, "Ah, that's sweet." But Anna's always been more of a pen and paper kind of girl. She likes spontaneity. He wasn't just undermining me. He was rewriting our story, painting me as the boring, safe choice, the placeholder, and her as someone too wild, too free, too creative to be tied down by a suit, like me. And Anna, she loved it, not the insults, but the attention, the idea that someone saw her as this untamed spirit. Anytime I brought it up, she'd shut me down. "He's just being Leo. He's family. He was there for me when I had nothing." And I'd back off, because I'm a patient man. You have to be, in my line of work. You don't jump on the first piece of evidence. You wait. You let the other side talk. You let them build their own case against themselves. And then you hand them the rope and wait for them to hang themselves. Mine came a month ago. I'd just won the biggest case of my career, 6 months of my life gone, weekends lost, relationships strained, my health shot. But we won, a landmark decision, my name in the papers, my firm celebrating me like I'd brought home the Stanley Cup. To celebrate, I threw a dinner party, my closest friends, the ones who'd barely seen me in half a year. All came. I opened a bottle of wine I'd been saving for 10 years. The house smelled like rosemary and garlic. The fire was crackling. It was the first time in months I'd actually felt alive, and because I was still trying to be the good guy, I told Anna to invite her friends, which, of course, meant Leo was coming. He showed up late, wearing some ridiculous vintage jacket, already half drunk, took my wine like it was his birthright, and by the second glass, he was holding court, rambling about some art exhibit no one cared about, using it as a platform to talk about creatives versus suits. Some of us are driven by passion, he said, staring right at me. Others, well, they're just good at following rules. I didn't react, just gave him a tight smile. But he wasn't done. He turned to Anna, put on this fake concerned face, and said, I just hope you're happy, Anna. I mean, Jack's a great guy, stable, reliable. He said reliable, like it was a disease. Then he paused, looked me dead in the eye, and with this smug little smirk, said, but let's be honest. She could do way better than you. The room went dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop. My friends looked like they wanted to throw him out the window. Anna, she just stared at her plate, not angry at him, just embarrassed that he'd made a scene. And in that moment, something in me snapped, not into rage, into clarity. The patient boyfriend was gone. The prosecutor had taken over. I put my fork down, slowly folded my hands, and looked Leo dead in the eye. That's a bold claim, I said, voice calm. I'm interested in your reasoning. He blinked, not expecting that. In your expert opinion, I continued, what does a better man for Anna look like? Be specific. Lay out the criteria, he stammered. Someone more on her level. A creative. Someone who gets her. I see, I said, nodding. So the main qualification is being a creative, interesting, and I assume you see yourself as fitting that description. Yeah, he said, puffing up. I think I understand her better than anyone. Perfect, I said. So you're the gold standard. Let's test that. I leaned forward. Let's talk about investment. Anna's in her second year of law school. Top-tier program, $70,000 a year. I'm paying for all of it. Not because I have to, because I believe in her. That's not just money. That's faith. In her, in us, in our future. I paused. So, Leo, as the self-appointed expert on what's best for Anna, what have you invested in her future lately, besides your constant negative opinions of me? His face went pale. Anna shot me a panicked look. Jack, don't do this. I held up a hand. Not done. Let's talk about her car. Safe, reliable. Gets her to school. I bought it. You have a car too. Right, that little convertible. Which, by the way, Anna's had to loan you money to fix 3 times in the last 6 months. Money that came from our account, the one I pay into. One of my buddies snorted. So, Leo, I'm not just funding Anna's future. I'm also paying to keep your hipster death trap on the road. You're welcome. Leo opened his mouth. Nothing came out. And finally, I said, voice dropping, let's talk about this house, the roof over her head. I own it. I pay the mortgage. I fix the roof when it leaks. You've been late on rent so many times. Anna's had to cover for you. Again, with my money. I leaned back. So let me summarize your argument for the table. A man who provides stability, security, and opportunity is inferior to a man who drains her resources, disrespects her partner, and repays her kindness with sabotage, all because he can't accept that she chose someone else. I looked him dead in the eye. Is that a fair summary? Leo, silence, total, crushing silence. He looked like he'd been slapped. My friends, staring at him like he was roadkill. I looked at Anna. Her face was storming. Shock, embarrassment, fury, but the fury wasn't at him. It was at me. She stood up so fast her chair screeched. I can't believe you just did that, she hissed. You humiliated him in front of everyone. He humiliated himself. I said, tired now. I just presented the evidence. Apologize, she demanded. Right now, apologize to my best friend. Or we're over. And there it was, The ultimatum. The final piece of evidence. She was standing beside a man who'd just been exposed as a manipulative, parasitic fraud, and she was defending him, choosing him. The love I had for her didn't die. It was executed. I looked at her. For the first time, I saw her clearly, not the woman I loved, but the woman who had just failed the most basic test of loyalty. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just smiled, a small, sad, final smile. Then I stood, picked up my wine glass, and walked into the kitchen, leaving her standing there. Alone, the case was closed. The verdict, guilty. The aftermath was swift. They left together. She moved in with him that night. I'm sure she thought she was making a statement, that I'd come crawling back, beg for forgiveness, but I didn't. I went dark. No calls, no texts, no social media. For 2 weeks, I was a ghost. Instead, I packed every single thing she owned, not in anger, in cleansing. Then I changed the locks, reset the security codes, and made 2 calls. First, to the dean of admissions at her law school. Due to a permanent change in personal circumstances, the private scholarship fund I established for Anna Carter is being dissolved immediately. Second, to my firm's managing partner. The internship offer for Anna Carter must be rescinded. Severe conflict of interest. I didn't enjoy it, but I didn't hesitate. My support was tied to our partnership. She ended the partnership, so the support ended too. Exactly 2 weeks later, she showed up at my door. I watched her on the security cam, fumbling with her key, confused when it didn't work. She rang the bell. I opened the door. Chain on. She looked broken, the fire gone, just desperation. Jack, we need to talk. No, Anna, I said. We don't. You made your choice. You can't throw away 3 years over one fight, she pleaded. It wasn't a fight, I said. It was a loyalty test, and you chose the man who's been trying to destroy us. You demanded I apologize to him. That's not forgettable, she stammered. But law school, the internship. I let the silence hang. Tuition's due next week, isn't it? Hope you and Leo have a plan, because my investment in our future is terminated. Her face went white. And the internship, rescinded. The firm takes conflicts of interest seriously. She stumbled back. You can't do that. I already did. Actions have consequences. You gave me an ultimatum. Apologize, or we're over. I chose over. Now you live with the fallout. I leaned in. Go ask Leo for help. I'm sure his creative genius includes a plan to pay $50,000 and replace your career. Then I closed the door. On her tears, on her regrets, on 3 years of love. I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel sad. I just felt quiet. Because loyalty isn't optional. And when it's broken, the contract ends. No appeals, no second chances. She wanted to know what done means. Now she knows it. Means the builder walks off the site and leaves you in the wreckage of the house you helped burn.